Hello everyone, my name is Ojaswi Joshi
Hi everyone, my name is Sumaya Akhtar
and we are members of International Student Association New Brunswick.
and we're doing this video in collaboration with Asian Heritage Society of New Brunswick. In this video, we'll be talking about racism and microaggressions, and we'll share our experiences and also the experiences of our friends, which are kept anonymous for this video. So, Ojaswi, what are your experiences with racism and microaggressions in Canada?
Personally, I think I'm lucky that I've never faced racism in Canada or anywhere else, because I think that I'm from Nepal and I was born there. So when people ask me, where are you from? You have a different accent or something like that, I don't take it personally, because I know I'm not from here and I know I have a different accent. So I think that's why my experience is a bit different than others. But I know you're someone who was born in a different country but lived in Austria. So for you, I'm sure the experience must have been quite different. So how was it?
It was different in the sense of that people, when they ask me where are you from, I'm often confused what to say, because I was born in a different country and raised in a different country. So either I say both, or I say Austria because that's where I lived. But when I say Austria, people usually always ask me, okay, but where are you really from? And this is, they don't realize that this is a racist question or racist phrase. And I also it took me a long time to realize that it is a racist phrase, actually.
Yeah, and due to that, while growing up, did you ever feel that you have some identity crisis?
Not really crisis. I think I was very oblivious to everything for a very long time. But for sure, as I grow older and you have to identify yourself with your heritage more, it was confusing, because you don't feel 100% at home in Austria, but you also don't feel 100% at home in Bangladesh, because I don't know the language well enough or the culture well enough.
Yeah. But did you ever feel that people are treating you differently in school or in college just because you look a bit different than them?
Luckily, I never experienced open racism. I think I'm very lucky to never have experienced that, because I think in Austria, because we know the language really well, people have a hard time discriminating against us.
Yeah.
So I was very lucky in that sense. But you know the looks of people, and you're not oblivious to that. I'm sure you have experienced something like that too, that people are not openly racist, but maybe how they look at you or...
Yeah. Maybe not directly, but of course, when I went to STEM, I was in business before, and when I switched to computer science, the population of female students would be really less in the class. And then so at that time I used to feel things, and then I remember while going in my first day at work at NB Power, I was really nervous because I had heard like it would be like that, but then I saw a woman of color and that kind of gave me confidence. So at that time I felt that how important it is to have a representation of you where you work. But I have heard that it's not the same for many people, which I feel bad about.
Do you think the women of color are underrepresented in STEM fields?
Yes, I do feel so. What your field in law?
I think my field is very dominated by white male.
Yeah.
Which is sad if you see the proportions in my classes.
Yeah.
Whereas very less people of color, especially women of color, is very rare find there.
Yeah.
But that's what we're here for, right? We have to change that.
Yeah. We asked some of our friends to send in their stories, and we have divided it into like different backgrounds so that you guys can have some idea about which background they are coming from. So
the first one we would like to start with is people with a Muslim background, because you get a lot of microaggressions there. And one of our friends also said that she wears a hijab and people don't understand that it's voluntarily. They automatically assume it's oppression, and they automatically assume she's forced to do it. They don't even ask questions. They just think she needs to be saved from oppressors in the Islamic world. And I'm Muslim too, and in my experience it is people, what I didn't understand back then is which that people don't mean it as a compliment when they say, "Oh, you're Muslim, but you're really cool for a Muslim." And I used to think that's nice, but it's really not nice.
That's really not nice.
No.
And I also, one of my friend also told me a story of how he had to change his name after 9/11. He had a more Muslim name, but after that he thought that he might have some problems, and then his parents just changed the name, which is really sad if you think about it, having to change your name, like your parents like stop calling you from a particular name just because they are scared that you might be attacked.
The next background we want to talk about is particularly East Asian, which is topical here because of the current global pandemic.
Yeah.
And we have friends from that background too.
Yeah, one of our friend told us that people wouldn't sit next to him in the bus, that too in Fredericton, just because he looks Asian, and people would be scared that he might have the virus or something like that, which does not make sense at all.
Not at all. And he also, when people say something jokingly, they don't know it's hurtful. When they say something like Chinaman jokingly,
Yeah.
it's very hurtful for that person. The next background we want to tackle is South Asian, as we can relate most to it. So one of our friends he was picking me up from the airport actually, and while he was going to the airport, the cab driver didn't say at first anything. He just lowered the windows, and then when my friend asked why, he said, "Oh, it smells like curry in here."
Yeah, which is not done, and we do get that a lot. Sometimes I do understand after we cook we do have the smell, but but we are like, even sometimes when like we know there's no smell and nothing such too, like we get those comments which just doesn't feel good, because you have to be so conscious even while stepping outside the house.
Exactly. And a last background we have quite some black friends too,
Yeah.
which is also very topical right now
Yeah.
with the Black Lives Matter movement. And they have faced a lot of microaggressions and racism. One of my classmates and friend, what she would always hear is people coming up to her and want to touch her hair out of the blue, which is not a nice or respectful thing to do.
Yeah.
Or when she would want to go buy skincare products or makeup, people would usually say, "Oh, we don't have that in your shade."
I think how you should take it is that when someone is touching your hair all the time, it doesn't feel good. So I think we need to understand that better. And even I think as a South Asian too, I can relate to that skin tone thing, because back home everyone wants to wear a foundation which is like 3-4 shades lighter than their skin, which is not done. And the beauty company, they should understand more, rather than promoting skin whitening products. They should start promoting girls of different color. We have a black friend who is, I think, one of the sweetest and nicest person that we know, and sometimes just by his appearance people think that he's aggressive, whereas I think he's the least aggressive person we know.
Exactly.
So I think that stereotype is really unfair.
Exactly, just people assume somebody's character or personality because of their skin color.
Yeah.
Which is wrong.
Yeah, or the way they look. It's not done.
So as last segment of this video, we want to end it by giving actual tips how to deal with racism and microaggressions. Also, just from our perspective, obviously there are different perspectives how to deal with it, but
yeah, that's true.
Our perspective as South Asian women,
Yeah,
that's what we would say how to deal with it.
Yeah, I think personally I would react really calmly and then try to explain it to them why this is a racist statement, because so many people sometimes when they're making a racist statement they themselves don't know if it's right or wrong. So we'll just do that, and then I think it is really important to address the issue and then to react to the issue rather than the person.
And it is also really important to tell them to educate themselves. It is not our job to educate them, but they rather should go out there and educate themselves, and all we can do is tell them that.
Yeah, and I think one more thing which is important is that we as people of color, we sometimes feel that we can make racist jokes, we are immune to it, but we are not. We should also try to continuously educate ourselves and aware ourselves, and try to learn others' cultures.
Exactly. We have to take accountability for our
Yeah,
actions too.
yeah, that's true. For today, that's it. I know there are so many other stories out there which we would love to listen and to educate others. So if you're interested in it, I have added in the description box how you can send in your stories to Asian Heritage.
Yes, and don't be shy. They keep your name anonymous too
Yeah,
if you don't want to reveal your identity, but just share your story, which will help the education process to
yeah,
diminish racism.
yes, because we are in this together and we should work together to make this society racism free society.
Exactly.